Hello and welcome. Today, I want to share a simple story with you. It's a quiet story about a tiny seed and a very large, hard stone. But inside this small tale, there's a really powerful message about strength and about patience. So let's begin.
This is what everyone thought. It's what the wind whispered, what the other seeds might have said if they saw this place. Nothing can grow here. It was a statement that something was just impossible. And that's where our story starts.
So let's start at the very beginning. Part 1. A seed in a stone. This is where the impossible journey gets underway. Just try to picture this for a moment. A tiny, tiny banyan seed. It doesn't land in soft, rich soil. No, it falls and comes to rest on the hard, smooth surface of a big rock. Just a little speck of life in a place that seems to have none. You see, the conditions were just about as bad as they could be. There was no earth to hold on to, not a drop of water to drink, and the sun was so harsh, beating down all day. It really seemed like it had absolutely nothing it needed to even start growing.
So what did the seed do? Did it give up? No. The interesting thing is, its first action was to do nothing at all. It didn't rush, it didn't panic, it just stayed still, and it waited.
And that brings us to part 2, the power of patience. Because in that stillness, in that quiet waiting, a plan began to form. A plan that wasn't about using force, but about using time itself. This is where we see how patience can become a tool for amazing change.
So what was its method? It was so simple, really. First, it just waited for the rain. Then, when the rain finally came, it didn't try to drink it all. It just absorbed every little drop it could find in a tiny crack in the rock. From there, it sent out just one thin root into the smallest gap it could find. And its goal? It wasn't to get big fast. It was just to grow, slowly.
Now you have to understand, this didn't happen in a day or a week. After that first little root appeared, years passed, maybe even decades. That tiny root, just by existing, slowly, gently, made the crack just a little bit wider. And over even more time, the wind blew dust into that crack. Old leaves fell and got trapped there. And bit by bit, the seed started to create its own soil, right there where there was none before.
And then, one day, after all that time, the impossible had happened. A huge, magnificent banyan tree was standing there, tall and strong. And its roots were wrapped all around the rock, not just holding on, but actually breaking it apart. The obstacle had become its very foundation. It's an amazing story, isn't it? But you know what? This is more than just a nice story. It actually shows us a real scientific principle at work. So for part 3, let's look at the science of these small steps. So how does this actually work? It's all about pressure. A growing root exerts a very gentle but constant force, and over many, many years, that steady, tiny push is enough to crack solid rock. It's a process called weathering. It's a basic law of nature, really. Small, consistent actions, when you repeat them over a long time, can cause huge changes. The seed basically built its own home.
Now, how does this idea apply to us? Well, think about your own brain when you're trying to learn something difficult like maths or maybe a new language. It can feel like a big, hard rock, can't it? Trying to cram and learn it all in one night. That almost never works. But if you practice just a little bit every single day, your understanding grows slowly and steadily. And one day, you look up and you realize you've mastered it. Your brain works just like that banyan root.
Okay, so we have the story and we have the science. But what does it all really mean for our lives? This brings us to part 4, the banyan's wisdom. Beyond the facts, there's a deeper meaning here. In India, we might call this the sar of the story, its true essence.
The first lesson is a really powerful one. Patience beats power. When you're facing a really big problem, the answer isn't always one big, forceful push. More often, the solution is found in small, steady, consistent efforts, day after day.
The second lesson is all about our mindset. It's about adapting instead of complaining. The seed didn't complain that there was no soil. It saw a tiny crack and a few drops of water, and it used them. Real growth starts when we stop focusing on what we're missing and we start using whatever we have, no matter how small it seems. And finally, this is something that's so important to remember. Growth is silent. For years and years, the banyan's most important work was happening underground, inside that dark crack, where no one could see it. It's the same for us. Real progress in our studies, in our skills, in who we are, often happens quietly and invisibly for a very long time. The amazing result that everyone sees, that only comes after all the silent work is done.
So as we finish, I want to leave you with a thought. What is the hard rock in your life right now? The challenge that seems impossible? And, thinking of our banyan seed, what is the first, small, patient step you can take today?